and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to the return of the Wednesday review. Yes, this had been on hiatus for a couple of weeks or so, which was not on purpose. It was more so by accident. But either way, it is back, and for today, for the return of the Wednesday review, I am reviewing the debut full-length album from a Canadian heavy metal band. It is titled Sealed in Starlight from Starlight Ritual, which was released through Temple of Mystery Records on June 2nd of this year. So, Starlight Ritual, again, just mentioned they are they are Canadian, again, Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and were formed back in January of 2014, and of course, released at least 2 EPs before releasing their debut full-length album. Their first EP being released in 2015, and then their second EP, which was titled Age of the Universe, was released on 2016. And then finally here with their debut full-length album, and apparently they were playing, or at least in terms of their style, was more heavy / doom metal earlier on. And I might get into that in maybe more detail. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with their first 2 releases. Either way. Oh, and on 2019, they provided the track Demons to the Trapped Under Ice, which is a compilation album that Temple of Mystery Records released on January 25th of 2019. So, there we go. I don't want to add in any more babbling BS. So without further ado, to stop me from babbling anymore into unnecessary territory, I'm just going to get into my thoughts on the debut full-length album from Starlight Ritual, Sealed in Starlight. Let me get into my thoughts on this one. Okay. So, Sealed in Starlight from Starlight Ritual. Before we really get into any of my thoughts, you know what I have to do. I have to provide, or at least run down, the track listing for this album, so I can tell you guys what songs are featured on this album and how many tracks it has. And this album has at least about 9 tracks, though counting at least the very opening instrumental. So there we go. Got 9 tracks, and all clocks in at 47 minutes and 1 second. So, these 9 songs are The Bell, which of course is the opening instrumental, which actually is it is the shortest song on the entire album. It clocks in at 1 minute and 30 seconds. Then from there on, we get into the actual first real song on the album, that being Marauders. Then finally into One for the Road, which is not a Judas Priest cover. Burning Desire, though that is not a cover either, because I can't remember, but I know there's probably plenty of bands that use that title. Sealed in Starlight, with being the title track for the album, Civilization Lost, The Riddle of Steel, Lunar Rotation, and finally ending with Righteous Ones. So there's your 9 songs. Alright. Yeah, these guys, according to Metal Archives, were playing the style originally when they were formed. They were playing more of a heavy / doom metal sort of sound before changing it to more of a heavy metal / hard rock sound, more traditional heavy metal basically. And with this album is probably the first real dive into that. It's the first real just them. More realization of the sort of sound. Everything is in full force within the sort of straight up traditional heavy metal sound, and that's what you kind of get with this one. I mean, it does begin with the very epic instrumental with the bell, which is a great sort of way. Again, it really kind of has an epic feel. It really builds towards something, and it does with a sort of very high octane riff or track that is Marauders. It is, again, the best way I can say is high octane, no frills, just foot to the pedal, foot to the gas pedal actually, heavy metal. It is definitely a driving track, and it's a good sort of opener, and it keeps going, at least it keeps that pace somewhat going into One for the Road, which kind of slows a little bit of things down a bit, but not too much. It still has a nice drive going on to the song. The same thing goes into Burning Desire. Both have a nice sort of really good solid drive to them before getting into the longest song on the album, that being the title track. Again, this track clocks in at 8 minutes and 23 seconds, and this one is more of a lighter, I wouldn't say lightweight, but it's more of a melodic, very semi-ballady. I guess you can say this is them trying to more so to try and write something that might be similar to either like The Lady Wore Black from Queensryche, or even Beyond the Realms of Death from Judas Priest. That style composition, that sort of writing, that's kind of what they're going for with this track. And it's a nice epic sort of track. It has a nice, again, it starts out very, very slow, very, very methodical, I guess, in some cases. I wouldn't say that, you know what, it's just very slow, sort of very just calm. I think it's the best word I'm going for, is a very calm sort of beginning, but as it keeps going, it builds from there, where it just keeps building and building, and then finally gets into the actual track, and it still is a very good mid-pace track. Nice sort of leads here. Again, great vocal performances from, of course, Damien Ritual here. Yes, that is the singer's name. He's got a real nice sort of rasp to his voice, but nice screech at times, but he has a very nice voice that actually fits the tone of what these guys are going for. And with the track like the title track here, it really is the best example of really what they're trying to go for. It's just a great track. Finally, we're back to more driving stuff with Civilization Lost, which actually opens up with seems to be a audio piece taken from a film. Not very sure. I'm not quite familiar. It almost sounds familiar, but it's still it doesn't really seem to pop at me at what movie the sort of audio piece is taken from here at the beginning of Civilization Lost. If you're familiar with this album, or if any of the members of the band, and if any of you are actually watching this review and are into this spot of the review where I'm talking about this track, I'm not sure what the film piece this audio is taken from, definitely please chime in and tell me in the or reveal in the comments section on what film the audio piece is taken from, so I know what movie it is. So there we go. That again, though, after that intro, the sort of film piece and whatnot, it go from there. It's again back to very good, driving metal track. Very good, nice sort of hooks to it. Great riffs, again, great vocals and whatnot. It's a great track. And then Riddle of Steel might be more closer to straight up epic metal. This one does have more of an epic heavy metal thing going. I mean, it's titled The Riddle of Steel. I wouldn't say it's them trying to go for something like Manila Road, but it's just has that sort of gamut with the sort of title. It might make you think. I mean, even the artwork for the album kind of has that sort of almost epic metal thing, like a Manila Road album. Or even at times remind me a little bit of Juggernaut from Frank Marino. Either way, yeah, it's got the Frank Frazetta sort of artwork going on for the album, but a song like Riddle of Steel just fits right along with the artwork for the album. Perfect fitting here, and it's a good track. Then Lunar Rotation back to me more just another driving hard rocker, good song. And then finally ending with Righteous Ones, which is again just another way just to drive the album home in just good fashion. So really nothing bad here. Everything sounds tight. Everything's just very well played. Everything's got a nice sort of edge going on for the album. Everything just sounds just nicely put together. It's just a good album from start to finish. It's solid. I have nothing really bad to say about the album. It's just a great effort from the guys. And for a debut full-length album, you can't get any better than this. So it's a good, solid effort from Starlight Ritual. So there we go. There is my thoughts on Sealed in Starlight from Canada's Starlight Ritual. And I've got the score written down, which I'm giving it a 8.77 out of 10. Again, just a great album though from these guys. Again, that's the best score I can give this because that's the way I feel about this one. But again, it still is a decent enough score to where at least is enough to make me feel how I feel about this album. I hate to repeat certain words, but I'm just going off my head in terms of what's coming to me in terms of words and whatever thoughts. Because again, it is my absolute honest thoughts. So. That's all that could be said there. So just be in mind of that. So it's a good album. Again, if I have to, again, as far as favorite songs off this album, again, I also write down my favorites anyways on the note here, my notebook. The song Marauders, One for the Road, The Riddle of Steel, Lunar Rotation, and Civilization Lost, which is actually one of the last songs I actually wrote down. Because again, I always re-listen to this stuff even before getting in front of the camera. So I still have a fresh mind of what the album sounds like. So there we go. That's all my favorite songs there. And that's all I really have to say for this album. So if this sounds like an album that you really want to check out, I'm going to leave you a link to, of course, both the band's Bandcamp page where you can listen to the album. And I'm going to leave you a link to, of course, the Temple of Mystery Bandcamp page where you can purchase this album physically. Though at least on vinyl. If you have a turntable, you can easily buy this physically because of so far the limited CD pressing for this album has been sold out, unfortunately. So who knows whenever this album is going to get repressed on CD, because I know a lot of you that also watch my channel like to also buy your stuff on CD, because I know a lot of you still have cars that have CD players in them. So it always is a bummer when you find out, because again, this might be an album that you might really want to spend more time with also in the car than just on the turntable at home. So there we go. That's all I have to say. But either way, I hope you support Starlight Ritual, and I hope you end up buying this album from Starlight Ritual, sealed in Starlight. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Every Thrash Shed saying I am out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.